journey in Pathways with her first speech in Pathways, and the title is appropriately My Toastmaster Journey. Let's welcome Donna, my Toastmaster Journey.
Good evening, everybody. Do you guys want to be great speakers?
Yes.
Great leaders?
Yes.
Well, Toastmasters is the place to come. I had so many experiences. I remember my first icebreaker that I gave 7 years ago. I was shaking. I was reading my notes. I didn't give hardly any eye contact. And then, would you believe, they asked me to be treasurer after being there a couple of months. So I was treasurer of my club for over a year and a half. And then, at the same time, I was struggling at work too. Because if you back up, 25 years ago, my manager said, you guys should join Toastmasters. And we all said, well, we don't want to join Toastmasters, that's public speaking. And that's what I thought Toastmasters was just public speaking, but it was all about communication and relationships, which I needed to work on. And then what happened in 2011, I got laid off from my job. And then at that time I said, oh, I probably did need Toastmasters, because at the same year I took a communication class at work. And I asked my coworkers anonymously to give me feedback on my communication skills. And one of them said, I need Toastmasters. So I said, I don't think I speak that bad, but apparently I must have. And I didn't really realize that I could do my work, but I wasn't a leader in that sense because I didn't communicate that well. But coming to Toastmasters, I've learned to be a better person. Sometimes I make mistakes and I don't intentionally do it, but it happens. And that's what's good about Toastmasters, because I always get feedback. I got feedback when I became an area director and I had to do reports and visit clubs. And then, somewhere along the line, I realized that I was nervous at these clubs because I had to go outside of my club. And then I was also a target speaker at one of my clubs that I managed. And then I also did officer inductions, and I noticed that I was nervous, but then one of my officers came to me, she said, you did fine, but you were nervous. I said, yes, I know that. But after he said that, I became less nervous. And then I gone through all these things, and then you would think, since I didn't think I was such a great area director, they would ask me to be division director. But I wasn't that bad because two of my clubs became distinguished and I was a distinguished area. So how did that happen? I guess a lot of hard work. And then I became a division director the following year. And I said, should I become division director? And Doug said, yeah, sure, you don't have to visit your clubs. The area director will visit the clubs. I said, and all you have to do is have them do the reports, and you just need to do the contest. Well, it didn't really happen that way because my area directors were busy, so sometimes I had to visit the clubs and I had to write the report. But then at that time we had 2 speech contests during the year, so I did the first one myself, but then my area directors did the second one, which was nice. But what I learned the most was leading people and understanding where they come from, because sometimes you have to ask people to do things and they can't do it. And that's okay because everybody has their life, and Toastmasters is a volunteer organization. We're only here because we want to be here, and we want to be better people, and we want to communicate better, and we just want to get a message across that we're servant leaders. We don't just delegate everything out and ask people to do things. We have to jump in and help as a team and to work better with each other. And this year, I became president. And I think that was a harder lesson than being a division director because I was in contact with you guys all the time. I couldn't like ignore you. And it's good that I always get honest feedback, because at work people really don't tell you the truth sometimes. They just kind of ignore you, or they avoid you if they're mad at you. But here at Toastmasters, people tell you what they think in a nice way. And it's just a pleasure to be present, because I get honest feedback, and I don't have to pay somebody to give me feedback, because I went through coaching sessions, which I had to pay a lot of money for, and I'm glad I became president this year to learn something from everybody.